Manifesting is a powerful practice that can get your mind, energy, body, and behavior into alignment with your dream author life. It's not just wishful thinking or hoping for a new life, it's a practice. And just like any practice, it requires dedication and work. Today, I'm discussing 5 things you can begin doing today to align yourself with your dream author life. Hello, if you're new to my channel, I'm Rebecca Taylor, retired psychologist and best-selling author of domestic thrillers. With 10 published novels and 20 years of writing experience, I teach writers how to make their work more powerful and live their best author lifestyle. You can find more information about my own books in the description below, but for now, let's get talking about how you can manifest your dream author life. The very first thing I want to talk about is clarifying your why. Why do you want to be a writer in the first place? So there's no wrong answers to this, of course. It could be that you want the money. It could be that you want freedom from a job that you don't particularly love anymore. It might just be living a creative life, seeing your work on the shelf at bookstores, or connections to others through your own written word. All of those are really powerful whys. It might be that you have a child, you want the extra income to help them through college. It could be that you just want to contribute more through some passive income to your household earnings. All of it, very powerful whys. I just think it's important to clarify what your why is, because then when you're heading into this journey, and let's face it, there's going to be some twists, some turns, some bumps in the road, you can always come back to your reason, which should be really powerfully aligned with your own desires. Why you're doing this in the first place. What's the point? What are you trying to achieve by becoming a writer? Because if it's just for the money, now I said there's no wrong answers, and there are not, obviously. But if it's just for the money, there might be easier ways in order to achieve that goal. And so that might be something that you want to explore, because being an author, any author will tell you, I will tell you, is not necessarily an easy career path. So just something to consider. If money is your reason, that's great, and writing is your talent, then those things probably do align very well. So just some things to think about. Identify your why and write it down. Put it somewhere, maybe above your computer, so that you can see it every morning or every afternoon when you sit down to get your words done. You can see clearly, why am I doing this in the first place? Why am I bothering? Writing a book is a long process. Keep in the forefront of your mind why you're doing it in the first place. Now, one thing that I would caution is I think it's important to make sure that your why is your own, and this isn't just a mimetic desire. So basically, you don't want it simply because you've seen someone else has it, because I think that that's going to make this a very difficult life. If you only want something and you head off after it, it could be anything other than an author lifestyle as well, absolutely. But if it's just because you've seen other authors being successful in this career, and it's giving them some of the sort of lifestyle trappings that you would like, but maybe they could be achieved in a different way that is more in alignment with what your true desires are, I think this is a time to try to work through some of that. Like, where is this desire to be an author and have this dream author life? Where is it coming from? Is it coming only from Instagram? Or is it something that you truly feel called, or you have this desire to do? I personally am one of those people that I get story ideas all the time, or I'll have a conversation and all of a sudden I start this running narrative of who this character is and what's happening with their conflicts. It's just kind of part of my identity already. And so it could be different for you. Everybody is different, and there's a million different reasons why you would come to this career, but I think it's going to be most powerful when it comes to manifesting this life if it is truly in alignment with a desire that's yours, and not just something that you're kind of seeing, somebody else living out on Instagram. Okay, so you've identified your why, you've written it down, you're keeping it front and center so that you can see that every single day. Now, the number 2 thing I think that you should do is visualize your dream writing life. Okay, so what does your day look like? Where do you write? How often are you writing? What kind of books do you write? Where are they sold? Do you work with a publisher, or do you self-publish? Now, you don't have to necessarily know exactly what all the answers are here, but you should start to kind of daydream a little bit. That's what this is, about what does your author life look like? And this should be fun, have fun with your vision. Do it at least once a day, but it should be a positive experience, so if you find that you're thinking about your writer lifestyle and then, maybe you've been at it for a little while and you're getting kind of a little bit down about it, or struggling to maintain sort of this positive energy around creating this writer lifestyle, then I think it's time to sort of put down the visualization. For if you can't turn it around and make it a positive experience, then, maybe today or this hour or right now is not the time to be spending on that. You really do want to come to your visualization process with high vibes, high energy, because, you're trying to bring this into your existence. You want this to be your reality. As they say in the manifestation world, like attracts like. And so if you are not feeling high vibe and you're trying to visualize a high vibe lifestyle being and doing something that you love, then, obviously there's going to be a disconnect there. So I want you to remember to have fun with your vision. Try to do it at least once a day. Daydream about, where will you write? Maybe it's, at a beach house. Maybe it's in your backyard. Maybe it's at your kitchen table. What brings you those feelings of, I'm really doing this. I am an author. I'm writing books, and this is the life that I'm living. Because this is sort of setting the seed. It's letting the universe know, this is what I want, and I'm putting this out there. I'm asking for it. So to go hand in hand with the visualization, I want to sort of suggest a tool. Journaling and scripting about your vision can be a really powerful exercise. At its core, manifesting is about bringing feelings into your reality. So when you believe and feel something from your chest, it's moving you into alignment with that desire. Journaling or scripting can be a powerful tool to help you identify the feeling of having what you want and hanging on to it. I think particularly for people who maybe don't have a lot of experience living an author lifestyle, it's hard for them to kind of wrap their head around or have that movie in their head of what does this look like. Journaling about it, or basically writing a story about what that looks like for you, can really bring your creative talents into the creation of this ideal life that you're trying to create for yourself. An additional word of caution here, in addition to it being, you want it to be high vibe and positive, you also want to really resist any of those limiting beliefs and or negative self-talk while you're envisioning this new life. I think sometimes when we're trying to create a new world for ourselves, a new identity, a new lifestyle, and we don't see a lot of evidence of it in our real day-to-day life yet, it can be really easy to kind of default into some of those negative self-talk or this lack of belief in yourself and or your ability. So I think that it's just important to really remember it's supposed to be fun. Remember that it's supposed to be uplifting. Remember it is that you are putting down on paper, if you're journaling or if you're just envisioning it in your head, you are creating, you're crafting that life, and you're using your own creativity to do it. So, it should be fun. One more thing I want to point out though, additionally, I do think it's important that you don't get lost in the visualizing sauce that you fail to execute. So seeing your life and believing it is possible for you is an important step, but it's not enough. So manifesting is not about just sending wishes out into the ether. You also have to take action. Do you remember that scene? I don't remember which Harry Potter it was, but when Harry keeps going up to, I believe it's the room of requirement, and the mirror is up there, and he is staring into the mirror and he's seeing his deepest wish, and his happens to be, being with his parent, this type of thing. I kind of think that that's a little bit of a caution on the visualization process. I'm pretty sure as Dumbledore comes in and says, hey, look, lots of people have kind of lost themselves up here. They're just seeing it. They're wishing for it. They're sending it out there. But it's really important that it helps you to recognize what it is that you want. And that's powerful, right? Because that's going to set you on your direction. But you can't just stay in that space. You can't just be thinking or visualizing about what it is you want all the time and hoping that it's just kind of magically going to show up in your world. And I think this is where some of the criticism of the manifesting practice kind of comes into play, when people are saying you can't just think it and it happens. I mean, and sometimes actually I will say there are things you just kind of think about and then they pop into your world. But it's not often the case. You have to take action on what that vision is, which leads me to my third point. You have to take action on that dream that you have. You have to move towards that dream. You have to get started on that book, create the document, brainstorm the idea, plot out the details. Writers who sell books don't just imagine themselves creating books. They actually sit down and do the work, okay? So this involves making space for your new life to take shape. Find a place to write, and barring that, find conditions under which you are able to write. So if you don't have the luxury, I'm very lucky. I have an office. I've been doing this for 20 years. I have an office that I get my writing done in. But if you're not there yet, and I wasn't there when I first started 20 years ago, I used to write on my, old laptop sitting on the couch in my family room while my babies at the time were taking naps. So I think that it's really important to, don't take a look at where more established authors, people who have more resources are, and say, look, the reason I can't do that is because I don't have an office or I don't have the space. When you are moving towards your vision and you are bringing it into existence, you have to find the ways where you are now to actively work on your dream. And then things start to shift and change, and maybe something shifts in your house and there's a space that's all of a sudden available, or you think of a new way to utilize a room or the corner of a dining room or something like that, where you can really kind of carve out that space for you. Personally, I enjoy having my office, but I don't actually do all of my writing in here. Sometimes I travel a lot, so I'm writing on airplanes, I'm writing in airports. Sometimes I just don't feel it in here, and I'll move out to my kitchen counter. I'll sit out there and work on a chapter or two. So, don't let limitations, or sort of like physical limitations, be the reason why, or the excuse, to not move forward. You can do it if you want it. You can start to actively work towards that dream author life. And the other thing I want to point out here, that, when you're actively working towards being a writer, is start calling yourself a writer. Tell others in your life that you're a writer, and don't do it apologetically. When somebody asks you, what do you do, or what do you enjoy doing, or what are you working on, find the courage, if you don't do this already, find the courage to say, yeah, I'm an author, I'm a writer, whatever, and this is going to really help you start internalizing that identity, because, it really does come from you. It's not the world out there that's giving you permission to be a writer or to call yourself an author. You're the one who decides, this is who I am, this is what I do, and this is my title, so to speak. And so, of course, then, you can't just, talk the talk and not walk the walk kind of thing. And so if you're going to call yourself a writer, then actually get that writing done. And that is all moving you towards, manifesting this dream author life. And you can see that it's not just wishing and hoping and, that's part of it. It's really important, but you have to take the steps to actually integrate and become that lifestyle. The fourth thing I want to talk about when we're talking about manifesting your dream author life is, you've got your why, you're visualizing, you're taking steps to actively move into this life. It's also maybe time to start watching out for some of those tests from the universe. Okay. And so this is just kind of one of those things, like when you are sending out signals and you're ready and you're becoming this new person with this new life, and you're transforming, you're shifting, you're changing. Sometimes and oftentimes, and definitely it happened to me, the universe is going to send you some tests. And I think that these are designed to make sure that this is what you really want, that you're really on board. I think the trick here is you don't let them overwhelm you, and don't let them completely knock you off your course. Now, I will say, this can look like rejection. It might be really harsh criticism. It could be lack of support from your friends or loved ones. It could be missing out on opportunities, so what do I mean by missed opportunities? So maybe there's you just found out there's this really great writing contest, and you really wanted to, you found out about it. You're oh, this is great. But you just missed the opportunity to submit, or the deadline, or, maybe there's a cost associated with submitting to it, and it's not within your budget. It's not something you can afford. And so I think all of this sometimes can, just lead to, or it can kind of go hand in hand with those limiting beliefs and the negative self-talk and the, kind of the self-doubt that can go along with trying to live and stay in this space of this dream author life. It just seems like there's always these challenges, not unlike the books that we write, right? So you're creating this life much like you create a book, and there's going to be challenges and tests along the way. Now, it may very well be that you, one time or another, or sometimes get completely knocked off your rocker. There's just something that completely comes at you from left field, steals all the wins from your sails, and maybe you're in the doldrums, for a while. And I would say that's okay. Maybe sometimes things happen and that test is there for a purpose, because it's like, yeah, I don't really want this. This isn't what I thought it was going to be. It doesn't look like what it looked like on Instagram, right? For that successful author, what I'm doing looks nothing like that. And I have no interest in, building up my skill set or going through these trials and tribulations to become that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, if you're running into these bumps along the road, but there's still in you this burning desire to have this thing, and you just are having that self-doubt, or you're feeling like, maybe you're not worthy, maybe you're not talented enough, maybe you don't have enough of the skill sets, that is not a reason to quit, because those are all things that you can build up and you can get better at it. There is nothing but, literature out there on craft and how to get better at writing and how to market your books better once you do have them created and out in the world, So don't let the bumps, the trials, the conflict of achieving and crafting this dream author life keep you from achieving it. Just recognize that, this is part of your growth, and think of them as growth opportunities. It's unlikely that you've ever learned anything in your life just, without some struggle. Nothing worth having usually do we just kind of fall over into. A lot of times there is discomfort, there is challenges, there are things that, make us not feel great, and that, sometimes growing hurts, I guess. So just keep that in mind. I realize now that I wouldn't know what I know or be as far along in my own career if I hadn't experienced a multitude of setbacks that forced me to change my behavior and thinking so that I could become the author I dreamed of being. So, I wouldn't be teaching at conferences. I wouldn't be teaching on YouTube. I wouldn't be able to connect with other writers in this truly authentic way, because I understand what this lifestyle is like, and I understand, what it's like to hit those speed bumps. I understand what it's like to get, completely knocked off course, and then to get back up again and keep going for it. So I think that the journey is important, and those tests from the universe help build me into the creator that I am today. So I'm incredibly thankful for, my entire path. And now this brings me to my fifth point, and that is bring a lot of gratitude into the equation. Gratitude is going to be like the supercharger for your current desires. So when you already feel grateful for all you already have, all you've already accomplished, it puts you into the frequency for attracting more of that good feeling into your life. If this is hard for you when you're thinking about your writing life, or, the rejections just keep rolling in and piling up, it could be easier to start with gratitude for things outside of your writing life. What are some things that you're thankful for? It might be your health. It could be your home. It could be the job that you currently have that provides for you and your family. It might be your pets. It could be your kids. It could be the friends in your life. This reminds you of what gratitude really feels like. And then you take that feeling and you apply it to the aspects of your writing career that are working. So what does that look like? What's already working? You're giving yourself a chance. You're showing up here to become the writer that you want to be. And do you know how many people dream of becoming a writer, and yet it always just stays that, just a dream? They're never taking action. They're never showing up. They're never getting those first few words on the page. They don't even really allow themselves to visualize what that lifestyle could look like. And so you're doing that. You're giving yourself a chance. You're showing up. That's something to be grateful for. You showed up for your writing session. You worked through a difficult scene. You've been making some writing friends and connections and feel excited for that shared experience. Those are all things to be grateful for that are outside of maybe just the most obvious external trappings of success. You're already living part of the life. Just keep going, just keep moving, just keep trying, just keep putting yourself out there, keep putting words on the page. You are crafting that dream author life that you visualize and that you script and you journal about every single day. So if you're new to manifesting, this might feel hard at first. It will likely be very difficult to suspend disbelief, and you may find yourself, writing all of this off as a lot of nonsense. Especially if you're a staunch, pragmatic, have to see it to believe it kind of person. And if that's the case, honestly, the practice of manifesting may not be right for you. Certainly, there are plenty of successful writers who just sit down and do the work all day, every day, and they create their own ideal writer's life. But if you find you're struggling to get the work done because you lack a fundamental belief in yourself, your abilities as a writer, or even that achieving this dream author life is even possible for you, then I encourage you to give manifesting a try. And if you'd like a beginner's resource to help you learn more about this practice and how to integrate it into your life, I'd recommend the book Manifest: 7 Steps to Living Your Best Life. It's a really great place to start. Conversely, if you have a lot of experience with this and you know of additional resources about manifesting, quantum physics, the law of attraction that you'd like to share with our viewers, please drop those in the comments below. I know there are other writers who would really appreciate learning more and any direction you'd like to provide as well. That's all I have for today. I hope you found this video helpful, and I look forward to seeing you again in my next video. Have an amazing and creative day, writers. Thank you.